It's time to feed the beast. So now we start the second part of this build. In the second part of this build, we wanted to put in a general store. To put in the general store, we had to clear out all of this sand. That big black object that you guys have probably been seeing, you saw in the last video, and then you're seeing again here, that is the new factory. I'm not building that, so I really don't know what's going on there. And then the hole in the mountain, that's another one of our projects. And cutting a giant hole in the mountain, not so much a camera happy endeavor. So here I am realizing I didn't like the placement of that oak log, and I moved it over one because I felt like it created a better unified feel. There's only so much space to get around the train tracks, but it felt better with that log there. I've got my jetpack on, as you can tell, which means I'm going to fail multiple times. And then there I'm using that glass over the door again. Brings in more light. I'm using this red cobblestone here. I don't know if I like it. It just felt like a good thing to start with. Then I realized I wanted to cut down more here. Because this building is going to be narrower than the police station, I decided it needed to be deeper than the police station. At least, I can't sink it into the ground very easily because of the tunnel going in for the train. That is where the train tracks are going for going out to the quarry. So I needed to cut that out and just make it deeper. My boots are wearing out, so I'm starting to suffer a little bit of fall damage. Here I'm trying to decide how I'm going to link this together, and I decided I was going to run the oak beam straight down, and then since I cut that out, I figured I needed to cut out the rest of this wall. And you'll see the irony of me making this cut here later. And we're just clearing out the sand. And then we decided we're gonna try this red cobblestone again. I'm having a little bit of a think about it right as I'm doing it, and I wasn't even sure I liked it even as I was putting it in. I'm cutting back a little bit farther here because I felt like I wanted a second entrance. I have a little jump cut because I had to go and empty my inventory again. So I felt like I might want a second entrance, so I cut back a little bit farther in order to affect that and build in my second entrance. And here we are putting that in, and I realized really quickly that was just making this just too monolithic. The whole structure was going to be red cobblestone, and I decided that just wasn't going to work. I don't like it when a structure is basically all one material because it doesn't feel, I guess it feels overbuilt. I like to see it a bunch of different materials, and it helps also break up some of the landscape. Otherwise you end up with real monolithic buildings. So I just removed all of that, and I couldn't decide for a little bit what I wanted, and then I settled on stone brick. And the reason I settled on stone brick is because the old factory building is stone brick, and the new factory building is basalt brick. So why not have a little bit more stone brick? And then we're going to put in some glass here. Because the old factory is a lot of glass, I felt like some more glass wouldn't hurt. And then I cooked up a little bit more stone to create a single wall with a little bit of glass. And I felt I liked that. I'm just cleaning out this area here of dirt. And we have a back entrance. I decided the back entrance didn't really work because of the way it was placed, so I actually felt I needed to bring it out one more unit. And I will go back and do that. Now we're going back to roofing because now we have to figure out how we're going to handle the roof. I can't peak the roof because I didn't want this to be a two-story structure over here. I wanted it to be a one-story structure. So I needed to work out how in the world I'm going to make this fit with the police station and the harbor master office that already has a roof. I wanted to kind of walk it up, and there I'm trying to visualize how it's going to work. And then I realized that the placement of that was going to cause an issue with the tunnel. And I'm kind of looking at the factory. I went and got more oak there. I decided that I wouldn't think about it too much. I would just go and finish the oaking because the oak had to be done anyway. My concern was if I had the overhang too low, it would cause a problem when you come out of the tunnel. Your view would be inhibited on one side by the overhang coming off of this building. So I wanted to make sure it all sort of fit together. And if I did make an overhang, I wanted it to be up near the overhang that is there on the original factory. So I'm laying down some spruce wood here to try to get that overhang up in the air. And I felt like that was probably a good location for it. So I went ahead and laid down some more spruce, and there's me screwing up the location of that spruce block. And there I've got the original, the first part structure of that. There I've had a few cuts there, and you see that I was off dealing with cutting down more spruce again. It does get dark here because again I don't put out torches very often when I'm building like this because I usually don't need them. I'm going to go ahead and build some more stairs here so that we can get up and try to create as much as we can of the originals of what we want the roof to look like. And I felt like it was getting what I wanted, but it wasn't quite there. So I'm just having to think about how I can adapt it and make it look a little bit better. I felt like I might have gotten it there. And you'll see that eventually that I completely changed my mind about what I'm doing here. First we're going to build a little bit more stone brick so we can fix this area right there. We're going to put the door back in there. There's me wondering where the rest of my oak went to. And now I'm trying to decide exactly how far I need to bring these beams of spruce out. And I decided I'm going to bring them out to there because I'll fill in that empty space later. And I'm building as many stairs as I think I need right now just to get this first structure down. And just to make sure that I get a feel. And then I remembered I needed to bring this out again because I'm forgetting that part again. And this is where I start to have a real dilemma with the way that I've constructed this roof. Because now it's going to start to look really strange. And I felt like I was getting too high up there. So you notice how it doesn't seem like the police station roof and the roof of the new building actually fit. I realized I broke my axe. I went through so many axes during this build. So we're having a tear down here of some of this, trying to create exactly the look we're looking for. And I'm not sure that I'm finding it, but I keep trying new and different things. And this is part of how I build. I don't really know what I'm building before I build it. I just sort of start building, and then as ideas come to me, I start to act on them. And here I'm tearing down the front. I've decided I'm going to build the fascia, the very front of the building first, and then I'll just construct everything off of the fascia. And now it's just looking a little bit strange, so we've got to put in some stairs. And now that block right there that my cursor is on isn't just not working, and there I go failing on my jetpack again. If nothing else, I'm consistent about failing on the jetpack. So now I feel like I'm getting a better flow. It's still not exactly what I want, but we're getting better. And I think I finally, I do it upside down. I thought I hit that one right. Yeah, the hover key never works for me, so I just end up jumping up and down a lot. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to decide what I need to do. I decided that it just has to be the way that I've constructed it there on that front fascia. And it actually gave me an idea as I was looking at it. The sloping is so gentle that it looks like I might be able to get another room above the shop floor. And that actually made me realize we have no houses here for anybody. So obviously the shopkeeper would live above his shop, because why wouldn't you? The boats can come in any time, so you might as well live above your shop. And so I'm tearing down everything that I'd put up previously so that I can reposition all of my spruce beams and get everything lined up correctly. There. So now I'm happy with the roof, or mostly happy with the roof. I'm still not 100% happy with that roof, but I don't think there's much else I can do. I decided at this point I need to lay down the floor. And I'm using fir here. I'm probably going to go back and rip this fir out and use something like oak, um, or maybe something else. Right now it's just too monolithic. And we went ahead and put some glass in there because obviously you'd want to be able to see out to the harbor, because if you're the owner of the shop, you're going to want to see the ships coming in. And now I'm just laying out my spruce beams and falling down. And I thought about laying a spruce beam there, but then I realized it would make everything really short. So I had an idea there, and now we're having trouble with getting our stairs to cooperate again. All right, and then we're gonna just try to finish this up with all of the stairs we have. I think I'm about to run out of wood again, but that just means another cut while I go and try to find or bone meal more trees. And here I'm thinking about it, and I realize this is going to get really dark with just a single light showing in. And I also need to fix this wall up, so I'm going to go ahead and do this wall here. And I'm still the whole time trying to figure out what I'm going to do about the light in that room, because it's going to be a dark room. And here I'm linking up the oak logs into the wall. I went ahead and got ready to build some first stairs, so that I can get people, the shopkeeper and his family, can get up and down. And I like the upside down stairs on the back side. It gives the stairs more of a body, makes them feel like they belong. Otherwise they just sort of hang in space. And I'm trying to decide how I'm going to do the flooring. I'm not sure if I wanted to do the flooring all the way across. I finally come to the conclusion that I need to. That's me trying to figure out where the floor is going to be. So I finally figured I'd do the flooring all the way across, because you actually would have room to walk out there with the way I'm constructing that floor. Or I'm sorry, that ceiling. Now we're just going to finish up this wall here. And here I realize I need to lay in another spruce beam, or finish laying in all my spruce beams. And then I need to make sure all of my rocks, all my smooth stone, come out to meet in the right location, so my spruce beams don't feel like they're hanging in air. Here I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do about this corner, and I thought about removing this spruce and putting something else in its place, and I actually go through the task of removing it, and then realized almost immediately I didn't like that. So I put it all back and ran the new spruce beam. And now it comes down to how we're going to do things. And then I had a brainwave. I love bay windows. So I decided, well, why not have a bay window? You have this beautiful view. You can watch the trains come in. Well, it's not a beautiful view, but you can watch the trains come in. And again, you're a merchant. So if you're a merchant, you would want to know that the trains are coming in, because you might have to do something about that. Maybe it's time to go out and unload the train because you have a delivery or something like that. So I went ahead and built a bay window. And I lay this in, I'm going to have to come back and remove most of it because of where I have need of the bay window. So now I'm just kind of evaluating, making sure everything is in the proper location. And then I went and cooked some glass so we can go ahead and finish the bay window. Never enough glass. And then I realized that these were all in the wrong spot. They actually need to sit on top of the window itself. Otherwise the window is just kind of hanging there in space. Fun action of trying to jump and hop with the jetpack on. And then I can just lay spruce in to cover that. That is dark in there, but it is night right now. Well, we will light that up eventually. I went and I spent like 2 axes worth and just bone mealed a whole mess of spruce trees because I was getting really sick of running out of spruce every other row of whatever I was doing. And then here I'm getting mad at my jetpack again. So we're back to nerd polling. And we don't have any room in our inventory again, so I just throw things around until it gives me room in my inventory. There. So then we have our roofing line put in place. And we're just emptying our inventory out, taking a step back, and evaluating what we have left to do. And I realized I missed a couple of spots here. One thing I missed was inside. It felt like too abrupt of a transition. And then that open space there, it's just too small to put in some upside down stairs. So I decided I was just going to fill that in and just have it a double thick beam. And then I'm going to go build the rest of the stairs to finish that roof off. I mean, the roof isn't going to be high, but again, you're a merchant. You're more concerned about what's downstairs because you're more concerned about your shop than you are about your living quarters. But still, your living quarters are pretty nice up there. Now we're going to remove the floor, and we're going to go with fur again, just because that's what I had on hand. I have a lot of fur. It's probably also not going to stay. I'm probably going to switch it out for something else. I don't know if I'll do spruce. I certainly have enough spruce on hand, but I don't know what I'm going to do yet. But that fur has to go. It just makes it too monolithic all the way around. Especially here in a moment when I put in the divider for the walkway. It looks right there. I knew it was monolithic, but I was getting tired and I couldn't think straight. So I went ahead and just cleaned up outside and realized I need some doors because you kind of need doors for a house to be finished. And I ran out of space on my door, so I just throw one and I'll pick it up on the return here. And then we have all of our doors. And then realizing I have that nice empty space, I just fill it in with some smooth stone. And now we're building a sign so that we all know what we're looking at. And we're really creative here because I was really running on empty at this point. And we slowed down the video again just to give it some nice, give some of the frantic feel off of it. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do here. I thought I was going to put private residence, and then I decided I didn't want to do that. Instead, I figured that I was going to put this as the delivery area because you come in off of the train, you might do deliveries, or maybe the factory because the factory is right next door. You'd pick up your deliveries. So the deliveries would come in here. And then we walk through just checking things out. And then I step back to look at this, and I realize a real big problem. I switch my jetpack here. I realize a really big problem almost right away. The general store upstairs uses spruce, but everybody else uses fir. Well, that makes that look just too silly. So I run upstairs, and I'm going to rip out all of that spruce that I'd put in there and replace it with fir. Now there is a little bit of spruce that has to show through because of the way the steps work. I felt like doing the spruce showing through versus the fir showing through. It just kind of looked better that way. I still like that look. I've used that in other buildings as well. So that is the store and the construct.